Hi guys, Kyle here with Oregon Outdoor Lighting. We're at a home in Northeast Portland that we did a full lighting design on. And what we're going to talk about today is how outdoor lighting can extend the usable space of your property. We wanted to illuminate the rock wall using uplights because that gives just nice presentation to the house. The house is kind of elevated up from the street. Playing off of that vertical element is what we do with our uplights. A couple of key things here is anytime we do uplights that are close to like a public space or like a walkway, we want to do a flush light just so it protects the light from getting damaged. When we go up to these second tiers, we switch to a light that's called a wall washer. What you'll see with these lights is they give a really broad, soft cast of light, and they're a really good fixture to use on landscapes like this that have really long linear elements. We also like to do a space like this, kind of alternate them on different levels so the lights aren't like stacked up. It just kind of creates a nice balance and different touches of light throughout the landscape instead of it being just one straight line, so it gives more depth and more character to the design. The next element would be the stairs. Obviously, we want to have stairs safely illuminated. This is one of our favorite lights to use because it's not that traditional like round top. As you can see, stairs, they're not round. They're a linear shape. They're more of like a rectangle shape. So this particular fixture, it's called the P10. And it casts out a linear cast of light, so it's a really good light to use for stairs. One, for coverage, but two, just for the design element. It mimics the shape that you're illuminating, so visually it looks a lot nicer to mimic the light footprint to the element that you're illuminating. Coming around here, this just kind of finishes off that look that we were talking about with the tiers and this really nice stone wall. It's also nice to do corners just because this is kind of like an anchoring part of the yard. You know, you're coming in, it illuminates, it marks where the driveway is, and then also gives guidance up to the stairs themselves. Working our way up through the property, which is one of my favorite things about a lot of homes in some of like more of the historic neighborhoods throughout Portland. Is a lot of times they'll have like a featured Japanese maple. So this one's been maintained really well. It's been pruned really well, so it's open, it's airy. The lighting will play off of the trunk structure, and then it'll illuminate the foliage. The other nice thing about maples is they look really good year round. In the wintertime, you can see all the little details and structure, and then this time of year, spring, summer, you get the colors of the foliage, so they're just beautiful trees to illuminate. Another element that's really common in a lot of the older historic Portland homes is kind of these long setback driveways. This application here is we just did 2 path lights. So it's not something that's really like an area that you want to illuminate from like aesthetically, but you want some functional light. So you're getting out of the car, you got your groceries, you got the kids, you got, you know, whatever you're doing at night, you just want a little bit of light. So this is a great transition area from the front yard to the backyard. The other cool thing about using a fixture like this is the heads are adjustable. So if we want to take this and throw the light further across the driveway, we have that capability with this particular fixture. So the last element for the front yard that we wanted to make sure was incorporated into the lighting design is going to be the front porch and the front steps. It's always important just from a safety aspect to make sure the steps are safely illuminated. We did our micro deck lights. So a nice thing about these lights is one, they're white, so they match the railing. As you'll be able to see as you're coming up the stairs, they give you full illumination on the stairs. And then when they get to this point, you want your guests to feel warm, welcome, inviting. And that's what these lights do for this front porch. So the stairs are safely illuminated. And then we continued that look on this upper section here, but all the light is basically from like say about hip level down. So you don't kind of have that overhead light, that kind of glaring, like almost security light feel. Yeah, the next piece we're going to talk about is one of my favorite elements of this project. And we touched on the relationship between like the exterior space and the interior of the home. So we're going to show you how that works on this project. So we just talked about this front deck and how we want to make it nice, warm, and welcoming. So after you come up the stairs, you walk up the deck, you come inside the front door. And what this does is this opens up into like a main living space. So in this particular project, this is a nice area that, you know, people like to hang out in, maybe you entertain in. And like this one has like the TV room. The element here that really ties in the exterior and the interior is the big windows. So we want to use that as part of or consider that when we're considering the outdoor lighting design. So like out front, we have this big window that shows the front porch, really kind of draws you out. Like on a nice summer night, it's really gonna want to pull you out so you're getting outside again using that space. Kind of transition through the house. What you're seeing again is a lot of these big windows. So if you had no lights outside, you'll get that fishbowl effect. So nice warm inside, but it's kind of like that dark feeling, almost kind of spooky looking outside. So using lighting to make it all one space and make a relationship between the indoors and outdoors is super important. Okay, so now we're transitioning to the backyard. So we talked about this flow, this nice indoor-outdoor space. So front yard, going into the house, and then how that integrates into the backyard. So the backyard has some similar elements to the front yard. Top deck here, so we have the same deck lights as we have out front. This is a black rail, so we want black lights. It's nice about those fixtures that come in different finishes, so you can match the different rail systems. In this situation, what they do in the backyard is they kind of help with this different elevations of the yard. So you kind of have this top space where people like to sit, hang out. Maybe parents are up top and kids are running around in the lower yard. But what this does is it helps define the upper space, and it give you just nice functional light for the upper space. The other thing that's really nice about these is, a lot of people have decorative pots, flowers. So having just a nice touch of light on these upper elements, it's just really nice. It's another design element, and it's something that allows you to enjoy your pots a little bit more, get more use out of your flowers in our short kind of spring, summer months. The other thing that's really important for backyards is there's just a lot more foot traffic usually, especially when you have like a lower space that you would hang out in. In this transition, in this particular project, you have these sets of stairs that go into like the kitchen. So it's going to be used a lot. So we want to make sure that all the stairs are properly illuminated. A lot of times when you do lights in like the risers of the steps, so if we have a light here, what happens is this top step becomes dark. So then there's lights on the stairs, but that top step becomes like a really big safety hazard. Doing lights on the upper rails is a way to make sure that all the stairs are properly illuminated. And again, taking that design element, we got some nice pots, some nice flowers. The last thing that's really cool about these lights is they're a really small footprint like during the day. So they're about the width, they're smaller than a lot of the metal rail systems. So they're not a big visual impact during the day, but you get a big visual impact at night. The next area we're gonna talk about is kind of this lower yard. Again, it's something that's common in a lot of Portland homes. You kind of come into the backyard and it's like a square or rectangle feel, just at least the footprint of the yard. So what we wanna do is make that space really warm and welcoming without having like a big glaring light when you're out here, because you wanna just come out and enjoy the space and not have like light shining on you. So what we did on this project is we illuminated the perimeter of the yard. So just some nice soft touches of light going across the fence, going across the back is illuminating this row of magnolias, and then finishing it off with a few kind of soft touches of light on this other side of the yard. So what that does is really just makes it an extension of the house. So now that you've seen the front yard, how it integrates through the home into the backyard, you can see how outdoor lighting is much more than just outdoor lighting. So when you're considering doing projects down the road, whether that's a new home build or a remodel, just consider integrating outdoor lighting as part of the scope of your project.